Hello and welcome to Whistle and Whisper. I'm so glad you're here with us tonight. Before we begin, I want you to get comfortable. Adjust your pillow, settle into your blankets, and let the weight of the day fall away from your shoulders. Take a deep breath in through your nose, hold it for just a moment, and release it slowly through your mouth. Feel yourself sinking deeper into relaxation with each breath you take. Tonight, we're going on a journey together. A journey that begins on a small volcanic island in the Atlantic Ocean, where the mountains meet the sea and the mist clings to green hillsides. We'll follow the story of a boy who had nothing but a dream and a ball at his feet. A boy who would become one of the greatest athletes the world has ever known. This is the story of Cristiano Ronaldo. As you listen, there's no need to stay awake, no need to remember every detail. Let my voice be a companion as you drift towards sleep. If you find yourself fading before the story ends, that's perfectly wonderful. This tale will be here whenever you need it, ready to guide you gently into restful sleep night after night. We'll explore the streets of Madeira, where a skinny child practiced alone until darkness fell. We'll walk through the lonely nights in Lisbon, where a homesick 12-year-old cried himself to sleep, dreaming of home. We'll witness a transformation from struggling teenager to global icon, from poverty to purpose, from doubt to determination. The story is long, meant to carry you through the night like a gentle river flowing toward the sea. Let the words wash over you. Don't fight sleep when it comes. Instead, welcome it as an old friend arriving right on time. So close your eyes if you haven't already. Breathe slowly and deeply. Feel the tension leaving your body, starting from your forehead, moving down through your shoulders, your arms, your chest, all the way to your toes. You are safe, you are comfortable, and you are exactly where you need to be. Let us begin in Madeira on February 5th, 1985, where the sun rises over the Atlantic Ocean, casting golden light across the volcanic island of Madeira. This Portuguese island, a place where mountains meet the sea, where mist clings to green hillsides and fishing boats bob in ancient harbors, seems almost untouched by time. Yet it was here, in this remote corner of the world, that one of football's greatest stories began. On February 5th, 1985, in the Santo Antonio parish of Funchal, Madeira's capital city, a baby boy entered the world. His mother, Maria Dolores dos Santos Vivero Saveiro, worked as a cook in the hospitality industry and as a cleaning woman. His father, José Dini Saveiro, tended gardens for the municipality and worked part-time as a kitman for local football club Andorinha. They named their fourth and youngest child Cristiano Ronaldo dos Santos Aveiro. The Ronaldo part of his name came from his father's admiration for Ronald Reagan, then President of the United States, and a former actor who had captured José's imagination. The family lived in a small, cramped home in one of Funchal's poorest neighborhoods. Santo Antonio was a mountainous area where modest houses clung to steep slopes, where the streets were narrow and money was perpetually tight. Cristiano shared this humble dwelling with his older brother Hugo and his two older sisters, Elma and Liliana Katia. The walls were thin, space was limited, and luxury was an alien concept. What they lacked in material wealth, however, they attempted to compensate for with love and encouragement. From his earliest memories, young Cristiano was drawn to football with a magnetism that bordered on obsession. Before he could barely walk steadily, he was kicking anything round that came within reach. A proper football was a luxury the family could rarely afford, so the boy improvised. Rolled up socks, pieces of fruit, plastic bottles, anything spherical became a makeshift ball in his relentless pursuit of the game. His mother would later recall how all he needed was something to kick, and he would be content for hours, losing himself in a world of his own imagination, where goals were scored and crowds roared. The steep street in front of their house became his first training ground. This rough, sloping terrain was far from ideal for football, but young Cristiano didn't care. Day after day, he would practice his skills on that uneven surface, learning to control the ball as it bounced unpredictably on the rough pavement. The incline forced him to develop exceptional balance and ball control. He played until darkness fell and streetlights flickered on, often staying out so late that his mother or sisters would have to come outside and call him home for dinner. Even then, he would linger, reluctant to leave his passion behind. His neighbors began to notice the skinny boy who seemed to live on that street with a ball at his feet. They nicknamed him Abelhinha, which means little bee in Portuguese. The name suited him perfectly. He was small, quick, and constantly buzzing around with energy that seemed inexhaustible. He darted between imaginary defenders, weaving patterns that only he could see, moving with a speed and agility that belied his young age. José Diniz Aveiro, Cristiano's father, worked as a kitman at CF Andorinha, a small local club in Funchal. Despite his struggles with alcoholism, a demon that would eventually claim his life to liver disease in 2005, José recognized something special in his youngest son's relationship with football. He saw the fire in the boy's eyes, the determination in every kick, the way Cristiano seemed to transform when a ball was at his feet. When Cristiano was still very young, José asked a man named Fernão Barros Sousa if he would be the boy's godfather. Fernão was himself a footballer, a player for Andorinha, who had previously represented Nacional, Madeira's biggest club. He agreed to become young Cristiano's godfather, standing beside him at São Antonio Church during the christening ceremony. Neither man could have known that this relationship would prove pivotal years later, when Fernão's connection to football would help open doors for the talented boy. As Cristiano grew, his passion for the sport only intensified. He would watch older boys and men play, studying their movements, absorbing techniques, and then practicing alone for hours. His skill development was remarkable. While other children played for fun, Cristiano played with purpose, driven by an internal motor that never seemed to rest. Friends from his childhood remember that he was intensely competitive, even in casual games. He hated losing with a passion that sometimes surprised those around him. If his team lost, tears would follow. This wasn't petulance or poor sportsmanship, but rather a glimpse into the fierce competitive spirit that would define his entire career. At age 7, Cristiano officially joined Andorinha, the club where his father worked. Even among older, more experienced boys, his talent was undeniable. His speed was exceptional, his agility natural, and his touch with the ball seemed almost instinctive. Coaches and other players began to talk about the skinny kid with the exceptional ability. Word of his talent began to spread beyond the small club. When Cristiano was 10 years old, he moved to Nacional, Madeira's premier club. This was a significant step up in competition and expectation. It was at Nacional that his godfather Fernão, who had retired from playing and now worked as a scout for the club, first truly recognized the magnitude of Cristiano's potential. Fernão had been sent to Andorinha to check out a supposedly talented young player. That player was Cristiano Ronaldo. 10 years after baptizing the boy, Fernão found himself watching in amazement as his godson demonstrated skills that seemed far beyond his years. Pedro Talinhas, Nacional's youth coach at the time, vividly remembers young Cristiano's arrival. Even at that tender age, the boy possessed something extraordinary. He was technically brilliant, equally comfortable with both feet, small but incredibly skilled. Many of the spectacular goals he would score as an adult, the objective to score beautiful goals rather than merely scoring, were already evident in his play as a youngster. He was fast, possessed a powerful shot despite his size, and displayed a confidence that could have seemed arrogant if it weren't backed by genuine ability. But Cristiano's childhood was not without its darker moments and challenges. Life at home was difficult. Money was perpetually scarce. His father's alcoholism created tension and instability. The family scraped by, with Maria Dolores working multiple jobs to keep food on the table and clothes on her children's backs. Cristiano later said his mother once considered having an abortion when she discovered she was pregnant with him, overwhelmed by poverty and the challenge of raising another child. That she chose to continue the pregnancy meant that the football world nearly lost one of its greatest ever players before he even drew his first breath. School proved challenging for young Cristiano. He was never a diligent student, his mind always wandering to football when he should have been concentrating on lessons. Popular with other students but restless in classrooms, he struggled with the constraints of formal education. The breaking point came when he threw a chair at a teacher who he felt had disrespected him. The incident resulted in his expulsion. He never completed his education beyond 6th grade, a decision he would later address with characteristic honesty, noting that football became his education, his pathway, his everything. When Cristiano was 12 years old, an opportunity arose that would change his life forever, but also test his resolve in ways he could never have imagined. Sporting CP, one of Portugal's most prestigious clubs based in Lisbon, had noticed his exceptional talent. They wanted him to join their youth academy. It was a dream opportunity, the kind of chance that most young footballers could only fantasize about. But there was a significant catch. Lisbon was hundreds of miles away from Madeira, across the ocean. Accepting meant leaving his island, leaving his family, leaving everything familiar behind. For a 12-year-old boy who had never left Madeira, the prospect was terrifying. Cristiano had grown up surrounded by his family, knowing every street in his neighborhood, comfortable in his small world despite its poverty. Now he was being asked to venture into the unknown, to live among strangers in a distant city. The decision weighed heavily on him. He discussed it with his mother, with his siblings, wrestling with the fear and the opportunity in equal measure. Ultimately, Cristiano made the decision that would define his life. He would go to Lisbon. He would chase his dream no matter how frightening the journey. The sacrifice, he reasoned, was necessary. If he wanted to become a professional footballer, if he wanted to escape poverty and give his family a better life, he had to take this chance. But knowing something intellectually and experiencing it emotionally are vastly different things. The loneliness hit him like a physical blow. In Lisbon, surrounded by boys from mainland Portugal, Cristiano felt completely isolated. His Madeiran accent, different from the way people spoke in Lisbon, became a source of mockery. Other boys would imitate him, laugh at the way he pronounced words, use his island origins as ammunition for cruel jokes. He was skinny, smaller than many of his peers, and his different way of speaking made him an easy target for bullies and harsh teasing. Every night, alone in his bed at the academy dormitory, Cristiano cried. The homesickness was overwhelming. He missed his mother desperately, missed his siblings, missed the familiar streets of Santo Antonio, missed the sound of the ocean, missed home with an ache that seemed unbearable. He would later admit that those were some of the darkest times of his life, but even in his misery, even through the tears, he never quit. He knew he had to fight, had to endure, had to prove everyone wrong. The training at Sporting's Academy was intensive and demanding. The coaches pushed the boys hard, expecting discipline, dedication, and constant improvement. For Cristiano, football became both his refuge and his obsession. When he was on the field, the loneliness receded. The ball at his feet, the goal ahead, the challenge to beat defenders and score, these things made sense in a way that social situations didn't. He threw himself into training with ferocious intensity, practicing longer than anyone else, working on his weaknesses, honing his strengths. During this period, Cristiano faced a medical crisis that could have ended his football dreams before they truly began. At age 15, he was diagnosed with tachycardia, a condition characterized by an abnormally fast resting heart rate. For someone who depended on exceptional cardiovascular fitness, this diagnosis was potentially devastating. The condition could have forced him to give up football entirely. Doctors recommended surgery, a procedure using a laser to cauterize multiple cardiac pathways into one, effectively normalizing his resting heart rate. The surgery was performed, and remarkably, Cristiano was discharged from the hospital just hours after the procedure. Within days, he was back in training. The incident barely slowed him down. If anything, having come so close to losing football made him appreciate it even more, made him more determined to maximize every opportunity. He had been given a second chance, and he wasn't going to waste it. His mother, Maria Dolores, would reflect years later in an interview that if her son had not become a professional footballer, he would likely have become a bricklayer. It was not said with disappointment, but rather with the practical acknowledgement of their economic reality. Without football, without this extraordinary talent and the opportunities it created, Cristiano's life path would have been entirely different, probably marked by manual labor and the same financial struggles his parents had endured. At Sporting CP, Cristiano progressed through the youth ranks with impressive speed. His talent was too obvious to ignore, too explosive to contain. By the time he was 16, he had moved through the junior teams and was training with the club's B team. His skills had developed remarkably. The skinny boy from Madeira had filled out slightly, gaining muscle and strength without losing his exceptional speed and agility. His technical ability was extraordinary, his work ethic unmatched. In August 2002, at just 17 years old, Cristiano made his debut for Sporting CP's first team. The jump from youth football to professional competition is enormous, a gulf that many talented youngsters fail to bridge. But Cristiano adapted with the same determination that had seen him through his lonely nights in Lisbon. He didn't just survive at the professional level, he excelled. His performances began to attract attention beyond Portugal. Whispers in the football world about a tremendously talented young winger developing in Lisbon. The summer of 2003 brought the moment that would catapult Cristiano Ronaldo into the global spotlight. Manchester United, one of England's most successful and famous clubs, played a pre-season friendly match against Sporting CP. The game was held to mark the opening of Sporting's new stadium, and it should have been a routine exhibition match, a gentle warm-up before the serious competition began. Instead, it became a showcase that changed lives. Cristiano Ronaldo, wearing number 28 for Sporting, played with a fearlessness and flair that left the Manchester United players stunned. He dribbled past seasoned internationals as if they were training cones. His step-overs were dazzling, his acceleration explosive, his trickery mesmerizing. United's players, accustomed to facing the best in the world, found themselves unable to contain this teenager who seemed to have springs in his legs and magic in his feet. On the flight back to Manchester, the United players reportedly surrounded their manager, Sir Alex Ferguson, urging him to sign this incredible young talent immediately. Ferguson, one of football's shrewdest managers, had already recognized Ronaldo's potential. The legendary manager was aware that several other major clubs were also interested in the young Portuguese winger. He acted quickly, decisively. On August 12, 2003, Manchester United completed the signing of Cristiano Ronaldo from Sporting CP for £12.24 million, making him the most expensive teenager in English football history at that time. He became the first Portuguese player ever to sign for Manchester United. At just 18 years old, Cristiano was moving to one of the world's most prestigious clubs, in one of the world's most competitive leagues, in a country whose language he didn't speak. Cristiano had requested to wear the number 28, the shirt number he had worn at Sporting. Ferguson had other ideas. He offered Ronaldo the number 7 shirt, one of the most iconic jerseys in football. At Manchester United, the number 7 had been worn by legends: George Best, Eric Cantona, David Beckham. The weight of that history, the expectation that came with that number, could have crushed a lesser talent. For Cristiano, it became an additional source of motivation, a challenge to live up to and eventually surpass. His debut came on August 16, 2003 in a Premier League match against Bolton Wanderers at Old Trafford. Cristiano started on the bench but entered the game as a substitute for Nicky Butt. The reception from the home crowd was electric. When he touched the ball, when he beat his marker with a dazzling piece of skill, the stadium erupted. His performance earned rave reviews. George Best, the legendary Manchester United and Northern Ireland player, proclaimed it undoubtedly the most exciting debut he had ever witnessed. Coming from a player of Best's stature, that was extraordinary praise. Cristiano scored his first goal for Manchester United on November 1, 2003, a free kick in a 3-0 victory over Portsmouth. It was the first of hundreds of goals he would score for the club across 2 separate spells. But the early days in England were not without challenges. The British press, never shy about expressing opinions, criticised his elaborate stepovers and what they perceived as showboating. Some journalists and pundits argued that he was too focused on tricks, not direct enough, that he needed to simplify his game. These criticisms stung but also motivated Cristiano. He worked tirelessly with Ferguson and the United coaching staff to refine his game, to become more effective without losing his natural flair. Gary Neville, his United teammate, would later praise Ronaldo's dedication to improvement, noting that the young Portuguese was always willing to listen, to learn, to evolve. His first season at United ended with a trophy. In the 2004 FA Cup final against Millwall, Cristiano scored the opening goal in a 3-0 victory, claiming his first piece of silverware in English football. Alan Hansen, a respected pundit and former Liverpool player, described him as the star of the final. But while his club career was flourishing, the summer of 2004 brought international heartbreak and controversy. Cristiano made his debut for the Portugal national team in August 2003 at just 18 years old. He was selected for Portugal's squad for Euro 2004, a tournament hosted by his home country. The young winger helped Portugal reach the final, scoring in the opening match against Greece. He became the youngest player ever to appear in a European Championship final when Portugal faced Greece again in the showpiece match, aged 19 years and 128 days. The final ended in crushing disappointment. Greece, massive underdogs, defeated Portugal 1-0, shocking the host nation and breaking Portuguese hearts. For young Cristiano, watching as Greece lifted the trophy while Portuguese fans wept, it was a devastating introduction to the harsh realities of international football. But the tournament also featured a moment that would define Cristiano's relationship with English football fans for years to come. In the quarter-finals, Portugal faced England. The match went to a penalty shootout after a tense, goalless draw. During the regular time, there was an incident involving Cristiano's Manchester United teammate Wayne Rooney, who was sent off after stamping on Portugal defender Ricardo Carvalho. Television cameras caught Cristiano appearing to influence the referee's decision and then seemingly winking at the Portuguese bench after Rooney's dismissal. When Cristiano returned to England for the new season, he faced intense hostility. English fans, furious about Rooney's red card and England's elimination, booed Ronaldo mercilessly at every ground he visited. It would have broken many players, especially one so young. But Cristiano used the hostility as fuel, playing with even greater determination. Ferguson and his United teammates supported him through the difficult period, And gradually, through exceptional performances, Cristiano won over even his harshest critics. Over the following seasons, Cristiano Ronaldo transformed from a promising talent into one of the world's elite players. His physical development was remarkable. He worked obsessively on his fitness, building muscle, increasing his strength without sacrificing speed. His diet became meticulously planned, his training regimen exhaustive. He was often the first to arrive at United's training ground and the last to leave, putting in extra hours to perfect his skills. The 2006-07 season marked his breakthrough as a truly world-class player. He scored 23 goals in all competitions, helping Manchester United win the Premier League title, their first league championship in 4 years. It was also United's first Premier League trophy since Cristiano's arrival. His performances earned him the PFA Player of the Year award, the PFA Young Player of the Year, the PFA Fans Player of the Year, and the FWA Footballer of the Year. At just 22 years old, he was being recognised as the best player in English football, but the 2007-08 season elevated him to an entirely different stratosphere. It remains one of the most remarkable individual seasons in Premier League history. Cristiano scored 42 goals in all competitions, including 31 in the Premier League, a record for a Manchester United player that still stands. He became the first Manchester United player to win the European Golden Shoe. His goals were spectacular and varied: thunderous free kicks, delicate chips, powerful headers, clinical finishes, audacious strikes from impossible angles. Manchester United won the Premier League title again, but the pinnacle came in Moscow on May 24, 2008. In the UEFA Champions League final against Chelsea, played in a dramatic rainstorm, Cristiano opened the scoring with a powerful header. The match ended 1-1 after extra time and went to a penalty shootout. Cristiano scored his penalty, and when Chelsea's John Terry slicked and missed the crucial kick, Manchester United won their third European Cup. Cristiano had conquered Europe's biggest prize. His individual awards for that extraordinary season were equally impressive. In December 2008, he won the Ballon d'Or for the first time, officially recognized as the best footballer on the planet. He also won the FIFA World Player of the Year award. At just 23 years old, having overcome poverty, loneliness, criticism and doubt, the boy from Madeira stood atop the football world. But even in this moment of triumph, changes were brewing. Real Madrid, Spain's most successful club and one of the world's most prestigious football institutions, had been courting Cristiano for months. The Spanish giants were willing to break the world transfer record to acquire him. Cristiano publicly expressed his admiration for Real Madrid, calling them his dream club, though he also stated his commitment to Manchester United. The 2008-09 season brought further success at United, with a third consecutive Premier League title and a League Cup victory. Cristiano scored 26 goals across all competitions. United also reached the Champions League final again, facing Barcelona in Rome. But this time, there would be no glory. Barcelona, playing some of the most beautiful football ever seen, dominated the final, winning 2-0. Cristiano had little impact on the game, shackled by Barcelona's superior tactics and play. His final goal for Manchester United came on May 10, 2009, a free kick in the Manchester derby against City, a 2-0 victory at Old Trafford. Days later, the transfer everyone had anticipated was confirmed. On June 11, 2009, Real Madrid announced they had agreed to sign Cristiano Ronaldo for a world record fee of £80 million, equivalent to €94 million. His contract would run until 2015 and included a mind-boggling buyout clause of €1 billion. The transfer made Cristiano the most expensive footballer in history. Sir Alex Ferguson, in announcing the transfer, paid tribute to his departing star. Cristiano has been a marvellous player for Manchester United. His contribution has been a major factor in the club's success in that time, and his talent, his ability to entertain, and his infectious personality have enthralled fans the world over. In 6 years at Manchester United, Cristiano had scored 18 goals in 292 appearances. He won 3 Premier League titles, 1 FA Cup, 2 League Cups, 1 Champions League and 1 FIFA Club World Cup. He had arrived as an exciting but raw teenager. He left as the reigning Ballon d'Or winner, the best player in the world, having fulfilled and exceeded every expectation. On July 6, 2009, Cristiano Ronaldo was unveiled at the Santiago Bernabeu, Real Madrid's legendary stadium. He was presented alongside 2 Real Madrid legends, Eusebio and Alfredo Di Stefano, linking past greatness to perceived future glory. The stadium was packed with 80,000 fans who had come to see their new Galactico. The number on his back was 9, as Raúl González, a Madrid icon, still wore the number 7. Cristiano would have to wait 1 more year for his preferred number. His Madrid career began with a 4-goal performance in a friendly against Shamrock Rovers. In his competitive debut, he scored from the penalty spot against Deportivo La Coruña. But his first season at Real Madrid, despite individual success, was frustrating from a team perspective. He scored 33 goals in all competitions, including his first La Liga hat-trick against Menorca. He became Real Madrid's top scorer for the season, but the club won nothing, finishing second in La Liga behind Barcelona and exiting the Champions League in the round of 16. The following season, 2010-11, Raúl departed Madrid and Cristiano finally inherited the number 7 jersey. Wearing this iconic number seemed to unlock something within him. He scored 4 goals in a single match for the first time in his career in a 6-1 demolition of Racing Santander. Hat-tricks became routine against Athletic Bilbao, against Levante, against Villarreal, against Malaga. He was scoring at a rate that seemed almost superhuman. In April 2011, Real Madrid faced their greatest rivals, Barcelona, 4 times in 18 days across 3 different competitions. It was an intense, exhausting series that captivated world football. Cristiano scored twice, matching his personal record of 42 goals in all competitions. Madrid won the Copa del Rey final against Barcelona, giving Cristiano his first trophy with his new club, but Barcelona eliminated them from the Champions League semi-finals and won La Liga. The arrival of José Mourinho as manager had brought tactical discipline and winning mentality to Madrid, but Pep Guardiola's Barcelona remained the dominant force in Spanish football. Their rivalry, featuring Cristiano on one side and Lionel Messi on the other, became the defining narrative of football for nearly a decade. 2 extraordinary talents, 2 completely different players competing for supremacy in what many consider the greatest individual rivalry the sport has ever seen. The 2011-12 season brought the breakthrough Madrid had been craving. Cristiano was unstoppable, scoring 60 goals in all competitions, an astonishing figure that included 46 in La Liga. Real Madrid won the league with a record 100 points, finally wresting the championship away from Barcelona. Cristiano's goal-scoring exploits were breathtaking in their consistency and variety. He scored against every opponent Madrid faced that season. His celebration, a distinctive jump, followed by a mid-air turn and spread eagle landing while shouting "Sí," became iconic, later dubbed the "See-you" celebration and copied by athletes worldwide. In the 2012-13 season, Cristiano scored 55 goals, but Madrid again finished second to Barcelona in La Liga. The following season, 2013-14, would prove historic. Gareth Bale arrived from Tottenham in a transfer that surpassed what Madrid had paid for Cristiano, becoming the new world record signing. Together with striker Karim Benzema, They formed an attacking trio nicknamed BBC, a play on the British broadcaster's acronym using the first letters of Bale, Benzema and Cristiano. Cristiano scored 51 goals that season, but the quality mattered as much as the quantity. He saved his best for the biggest stage. In the Champions League, he was sensational, scoring 17 goals, a record for a single European campaign. Real Madrid reached the Champions League final against Atletico Madrid, their city rivals. The match, played in Lisbon, was tense and dramatic. Atletico led 1-0 until the 93rd minute when Sergio Ramos equalized, forcing extra time. In the 20th minute, Cristiano scored a penalty to make it 4-1, sealing Madrid's 10th European Cup, La Decima they had been desperately seeking. Cristiano became the first player to score in 2 European Cup finals for 2 different winning teams, having scored for Manchester United in 2008 and now for Real Madrid. He finished as the competition's top scorer for the 3rd time. His performances earned him the 2013 Ballon d'Or, and with Madrid's Champions League triumph, he won the 2014 Ballon d'Or as well, his 2nd and 3rd overall. The 2014-15 season saw Cristiano reach perhaps his absolute peak. He scored an incredible 61 goals in all competitions, including 48 in La Liga. On April 5, 2015, he scored 5 goals in a single match against Granada, including an 8-minute hat-trick. His 300th goal for Madrid came 3 days later against Rayo Vallecano. He won his 4th European Golden Shoe and 2nd consecutive Pichichi Trophy as La Liga's top scorer. The numbers were almost absurd, barely believable. On September 12, 2015, Cristiano became Real Madrid's all-time leading goal scorer. In a match against Espanyol, he scored his 230th goal for the club in just 2003 appearances, surpassing the previous record held by Raúl. It was a watershed moment. Cristiano had not just joined Madrid's pantheon of legends, he had claimed the highest position. And he was nowhere near finished. The 2015-16 season brought another Champions League triumph. Madrid defeated rivals Atletico again in the final, this time on penalties after a 1-1 draw. Cristiano scored the winning penalty, Madrid's 11th European Cup secured. He won his 4th Ballon d'Or, matching Lionel Messi's total at the time. The 2016-17 season continued his remarkable run, with 42 goals across all competitions and a successful defense of the Champions League, beating Juventus 4-1 in the final. Cristiano scored twice. Madrid won their 12th European Cup, and Cristiano claimed his 5th Ballon d'Or, moving ahead of Messi in the prestigious award count. The 2017-18 season brought more of the same brilliance. Cristiano scored 44 goals, including a breathtaking bicycle kick against Juventus in the Champions League quarter-finals, a goal so spectacular that even Juventus fans in Turin gave him a standing ovation. Real Madrid won an unprecedented 3rd consecutive Champions League title, defeating Liverpool 3-1 in the final. Cristiano scored one of Madrid's goals, cementing their place as the greatest Champions League team of the modern era. In 9 seasons at Real Madrid, Cristiano Ronaldo scored an almost incomprehensible 451 goals in 438 appearances. His record included 312 goals in La Liga, 10-5 in the Champions League, 22 in the Copa del Rey, 6 in the Club World Cup, 4 in the Spanish Super Cup, and 2 in the UEFA Super Cup. He won 4 Champions League titles, 2 La Liga championships, 2 Copa del Reys, 3 UEFA Super Cups, and 3 Club World Cups. He won 4 Ballon d'Ors while at Madrid and 3 FIFA, the best awards. But despite this unprecedented success, tensions had developed between Cristiano and Real Madrid's hierarchy, particularly club president Florentino Perez. Issues over contract renewals, tax investigations by Spanish authorities, and Cristiano's feeling that he wasn't receiving sufficient support from the club created fractures in the relationship. In the summer of 2018, despite being 33 years old and having just won another Champions League, Cristiano decided he wanted a new challenge. On July 10, 2018, Juventus, the dominant force in Italian football, announced they had signed Cristiano Ronaldo from Real Madrid for €100 million plus an additional $12 million in fees. It was the highest transfer fee ever paid for a player over 30 years old, and the most expensive transfer in Italian football history. Cristiano signed a 4-year contract, citing his desire for new challenges, though he later acknowledged that his deteriorating relationship with Perez had been a significant factor. Within 24 hours of Juventus announcing Ronaldo's signing, over 520,000 of his number 7 shirts were sold, generating $4 million in a single day. The commercial impact was immediate and enormous. Juventus's social media following exploded, their global profile elevated dramatically. Cristiano made his Serie A debut on August 18, 2018, in a 3-2 away victory against Chievo Verona. His first goals with Juventus came on September 16 against Sassuolo at home, scoring twice in a 2-1 victory. His second goal was the 400th league goal of his career, an extraordinary milestone. On September 19, in his first Champions League match for Juventus against Valencia, Cristiano was sent off for a seemingly minor incident, receiving a straight red card for the first time in 54 Champions League appearances. It was a controversial decision that left him in tears as he left the field. But he bounced back quickly, winning his first trophy with Juventus on January 16, 2019, the Supercoppa Italiana, scored with a header against AC Milan. His most memorable performance that season came on March 12 in the Champions League round of 16 second leg against his former club Atletico Madrid. Juventus had lost the first leg 2-0 in Spain and seemed destined for elimination. At home in Turin, Cristiano scored a magnificent hat-trick, including 2 headers and a precise finish, as Juventus won 3-0 and advanced on away goals. It was one of the great individual Champions League performances, pure Cristiano Ronaldo at his clutch best. He finished his first Juventus season with 28 goals in all competitions as the team won Serie A, continuing their domestic dominance. The 2019-20 season brought 37 goals, including 31 in Serie A, as Juventus again won the league. Cristiano became the oldest player, at 35 years and 166 days, to score over 30 goals in a single season in one of Europe's top 5 leagues since Ronnie Rook with Arsenal in 1948. On July 20, 2020, Cristiano scored a spectacular free kick against Torino that was measured at travelling 85 km per hour. On December 7, he scored his 750th senior career goal in a Champions League group stage match against Dynamo Kiev. On May 12, 2021, he reached 100 goals for Juventus in all competitions in his 131st appearance, becoming the fastest Juventus player ever to achieve this feat. With Juventus winning the 2021 Coppa Italia final on May the 19th, Cristiano became the first player in history to win every major domestic trophy in England, Spain, and Italy. He finished the season with 29 league goals, winning the Capocannoniere Award as Serie A's top scorer, becoming the first footballer to finish as top scorer in the English, Spanish, and Italian leagues. In 3 seasons at Juventus, Cristiano scored 101 goals in 34 appearances. He won 2 Serie A titles, 1 Coppa Italia, and 2 Supercoppa Italiana trophies. But the Champions League triumph that Juventus had hoped his signing would bring never materialized. They were eliminated in the quarterfinals in 2019, the round of 16 in 2020, and the round of 16 again in 2021. For a player and club with such high expectations, these exits felt like failures despite domestic success. In August 2021, amid reports that Cristiano had no intention of remaining at Juventus, a stunning development emerged. Manchester City, the dominant force in English football, reached a verbal agreement with Cristiano over personal terms. It seemed certain he would join City, a move that would have been controversial given his United history. But then Manchester United intervened. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, United's manager and a former teammate of Cristiano's, along with Sir Alex Ferguson, reportedly contacted Ronaldo personally. The emotional pull of returning to Old Trafford, the stadium where he had become a global superstar, proved irresistible. On August 27, 2021, Manchester United announced they had reached an agreement with Juventus to re-sign Cristiano Ronaldo 12 years after he had left. The transfer fee was reported to be €15 million, with potential add-ons of €8 million. He signed a 2-year contract with the option of extending for a further year. The announcement sent shockwaves through football. Cristiano Ronaldo was coming home to Manchester United. The prodigal son was returning to the club where he had transformed from talented teenager to world beater. His second debut for United came on September 11, 2021, against Newcastle United at Old Trafford. The atmosphere was electric, the stadium packed with fans desperate to see their returning hero. Cristiano didn't disappoint. He scored twice in a 4-1 victory, including a tap-in that sent the crowd into raptures. At 36 years old, he looked as sharp and clinical as ever. The fairy tale return seemed complete. He continued scoring with remarkable consistency throughout that season. On September 29, he scored a dramatic 95th minute winner against Villarreal in the Champions League, his 135th Champions League goal, extending his record. On December 2, 2021, playing against Arsenal at Old Trafford, he scored his 800th senior career goal. On March 12, 2022, he became Manchester United's all-time leading scorer in international club competitions, surpassing Denis Law's record of 39 goals. But despite Cristiano's individual contributions, Manchester United struggled as a team. The club was in turmoil, lacking clear direction, tactical cohesion, and consistent performances. Manager Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was sacked in November 2021, replaced by interim manager Ralf Rangnick. The team finished 6th in the Premier League, missing out on Champions League qualification for the following season. It was a disappointing campaign that ended without trophies. Cristiano finished the season with 24 goals in all competitions, making him United's top scorer despite the team's struggles. But the atmosphere at the club was fractious. Reports emerged of dressing room tensions, disagreements over playing style, questions about whether Cristiano at his age could fit into a high-pressing modern system. The summer of 2022 brought further turbulence. Erik ten Hag arrived as the new Manchester United manager, bringing a clear tactical philosophy developed at Ajax. Reports suggested Cristiano wanted to leave United to join a club competing in the Champions League. No suitable move materialized, and he remained at Old Trafford, though his relationship with the club appeared increasingly strained. On October 1922, Cristiano came on as a substitute against Tottenham, but was substituted himself before the end of the match. Cameras captured him walking down the tunnel before the final whistle, an act of apparent dissent that led to him being dropped for the following match against Chelsea. The incident highlighted the growing tensions between player and manager. The breaking point came in November 2020. In a controversial interview with British journalist Piers Morgan, Cristiano publicly criticised Manchester United, claiming he felt betrayed by the club. He criticised the club's hierarchy, questioned their ambition, suggested they doubted his words when he explained absences and stated he had no respect for manager Erik ten Hag because he doesn't show respect for me. The interview was incendiary, burning bridges that had stood for nearly 2 decades. On November 22, 2022, Manchester United released a statement announcing that Cristiano Ronaldo would leave the club by mutual agreement with immediate effect. His second spell at United ended acrimoniously just 15 months after his emotional return. He had scored 27 goals in 54 appearances during this second stint, but the fairy tale ending he and the fans had hoped for had soured into recrimination and disappointment. Days after leaving Manchester United, Cristiano was in Qatar representing Portugal at the 2022 FIFA World Cup. It would prove to be his 5th and final World Cup, the one major trophy that has eluded him throughout his illustrious career. He became the first male player to score at 5 different World Cups when he converted a penalty against Ghana in Portugal's opening match. Portugal advanced to the quarter-finals where they faced Morocco. In a shocking upset, Morocco defeated Portugal 1-0. Cristiano started the match on the bench, introduced only in the second half, unable to change the outcome. As he walked off the field after the final whistle, tears streamed down his face. The image of him crying, knowing this was likely his last World Cup, knowing the one prize he desperately wanted would never be his, was heartbreaking for anyone who understood the depths of his competitive drive. With his Manchester United contract terminated and no immediate European suitor, Cristiano's next move surprised many. On December 30, 2022, Saudi Arabian club Al Nassr announced they had signed Cristiano Ronaldo on a contract until 2025. The reported salary was astronomical, estimated at 200 million euros per year when including commercial deals and sponsorships, making it the highest football salary in history. The move to Saudi Arabia was controversial. Critics suggested it represented the end of his elite career, that he was choosing money over competition, that he was effectively retiring from top-level football. Others viewed it as a pragmatic decision by a 37-year-old player acknowledging the realities of age while securing his financial future and potentially helping grow football in a developing market. Cristiano made his debut for Al Nassr on January 22, 2023, coming off the bench in a 1-0 victory against Al Ettifaq. His first goals came in a dramatic 5-4 victory over Al Fateh on February 3rd, scoring all 4 of Al Nassr's goals in a losing effort before his teammates rallied. He finished his first partial season with 14 goals in 19 appearances across all competitions. But the trophies he had been accustomed to winning throughout his career didn't immediately follow. Al Nassr finished second in the Saudi Pro League behind Al Ittihad. They lost the King Cup final to Al Hilal in a penalty shootout. For someone who had spent 2 decades collecting silverware at the highest level, the adjustment to not winning was difficult. The 2023-24 season saw Cristiano fully integrated into Saudi football. He scored with remarkable consistency, notching 44 goals in 45 appearances across all competitions. His performances were often spectacular, including multiple hat-tricks and crucial winners. On February 12, 2024, he scored 4 goals in a 5-1 victory against Al Hazem. On August 24, 2024, he scored his 899th senior career goal in the Saudi Super Cup final, though Al Nassr lost to Al Hilal. Throughout his time in Saudi Arabia, Cristiano has maintained his exceptional physical condition and professionalism. Even in his late 30s, his dedication to fitness, diet, and recovery remains obsessive. He reportedly still trains with the intensity of a player a decade younger, arriving early and staying late, setting an example for teammates. His impact in Saudi Arabian football has been significant beyond his goals. His presence has raised the profile of the Saudi Pro League internationally, attracting television coverage and attention that the league had never previously enjoyed. Other high-profile players, including Karim Benzema, N'Golo Kante and Neymar, followed Cristiano to Saudi Arabia, transforming the league into an increasingly competitive environment. While his club career has taken this unexpected turn, Cristiano's international career with Portugal continued to flourish even in his late 30s. He is Portugal's all-time leading goal scorer with over 130 goals, a record he has extended with nearly every international break. His international career spans over 2 decades, a testament to his longevity and continued effectiveness. The 2016 European Championship remains perhaps his greatest achievement in a Portugal shirt. Despite Portugal's unconvincing group stage performances, they progressed through the knockout rounds, defeating Croatia, Poland and Wales to reach the final against hosts France. In the final, played at the Stade de France on July 10, 2016, disaster struck early when Cristiano suffered a knee injury following a challenge from Dimitri Payet. He tried to continue, but was eventually carried off the pitch in tears, devastated to be missing the biggest match of his international career. What followed was remarkable. With Cristiano on the sidelines, unable to play but refusing to retreat to the dressing room, he became an auxiliary coach, encouraging his teammates, shouting instructions, willing them to victory. The match went to extra time, still goalless. In the 9th minute, substitute Eder scored a stunning long-range strike. Portugal held on to win 1-0, claiming their first ever major international trophy. The images of Cristiano after the final whistle, tears of joy replacing tears of frustration, celebrating on crutches, with his teammates hoisting the trophy despite not being able to complete the match, are among the most iconic in Portuguese football history. He had finally won a major international tournament, the validation he had desperately sought after so many near misses. 3 years later, Portugal won the inaugural UEFA Nations League, defeating the Netherlands 1-0 in the final on June 9, 2019. Cristiano scored a hat-trick in the semi-final against Switzerland and captained Portugal to victory in the final. It was further vindication, further proof that he could deliver for his country when it mattered most. Throughout his career, Cristiano has faced comparisons to Lionel Messi that have defined an era of football. The debate over who is the greatest, Cristiano or Messi, has consumed fans, pundits, and journalists for well over a decade. Both players have achieved things that were previously thought impossible. Both have redefined what elite performance looks like. Both have set records that may never be broken. The comparisons are inevitable, but also somewhat futile. They are different players with different styles, strengths, and characteristics. Messi is perhaps the more naturally gifted, his close control and dribbling ability bordering on supernatural. Cristiano is the more physically imposing, the more complete athlete, someone who has maximized every ounce of his talent through relentless work. Cristiano's career has been characterized by an almost superhuman work ethic. Teammates from every club he has played for tell similar stories. He is always the first to arrive at training, always the last to leave. He practices free kicks for hours after training sessions have ended. He studies opponents obsessively, looking for weaknesses to exploit. His diet is meticulously controlled, avoiding alcohol and sugar, eating multiple small meals throughout the day to maintain optimal energy levels. His physical transformation from the skinny teenager who arrived at Manchester United to the sculpted athlete he became is a testament to his dedication. He has adapted his game as he has aged, transitioning from a tricky winger who relied on pace and skill to a more central striker who uses positioning, movement, and clinical finishing. This evolution has allowed him to remain effective even as he has entered his late 30s, an age when most footballers have retired or significantly declined. The statistics of Cristiano Ronaldo's career are almost incomprehensible in their scale. As of early 2025, he has scored over 900 senior career goals, a total that includes club and international football. Only a handful of players in history have scored more than 700, making his achievement even more remarkable. He is the all-time leading goal scorer in the Champions League with over 140 goals, a record unlikely to be broken for generations, if ever. He has won over 30 major trophies throughout his career, including 5 Champions League titles, 7 league championships across 3 countries, multiple domestic cups, 5 Ballon d'Ors, and numerous other individual awards. He has scored in every minute of a football match in every month of the year against opponents from dozens of different countries. Beyond the numbers, Cristiano has scored goals of breathtaking beauty and importance. The long-range strike against Porto that flew into the top corner with such power it seemed to defy physics. The overhead kick against Juventus that was so perfect even opposition fans applauded. The countless free kicks that have bent and dipped past helpless goalkeepers. The headers that have showcased his extraordinary leap in timing. The penalties scored in the most pressure-filled moments of crucial matches. But his career has not been without controversy. Tax evasion allegations in Spain resulted in a settlement with authorities. Though Cristiano maintained he had been advised that his tax arrangements were legal. Rape allegations made in 2018 were investigated but ultimately not prosecuted, with Cristiano vehemently denying any wrongdoing. These incidents have complicated his legacy, adding shadows to the brilliance. His personal life has unfolded largely in the public eye. He is the father of 5 children. His first child, Cristiano Ronaldo Jr., was born in 2010, though the identity of the mother has never been publicly revealed. In 2017, twins Eva and Matteo were born via surrogacy. In November 2017, Cristiano confirmed his relationship with Spanish model Georgina Rodriguez. In November 2017, they had a daughter together, Alana Martina. In October 2021, they announced they were expecting twins. Tragically, in April 2020, they announced that their son had died during childbirth, while the daughter, Bella Esmeralda, survived. The loss was devastating, and Cristiano's public statement about the death of his son was heartbreaking in its honesty and grief. His relationship with his mother, Maria Dolores, has remained close throughout his life. He has spoken frequently about her sacrifices, her support, her unconditional love during his difficult early years. He has also been open about the pain of his father's death in 2005, when José Diniz Aveiro died of liver failure related to alcoholism at age 52. Cristiano was just 20 years old, on the cusp of greatness, and his father died without seeing the heights his son would reach. It remains one of his greatest regrets that his father never saw him play at the Santiago Bernabéu or win the Ballon d'Or. Cristiano's influence extends well beyond football. He is one of the most followed people on social media, with hundreds of millions of followers across Instagram, Facebook, and other platforms. He has used this platform for charitable work, including donations to hospitals, cancer centers, and disaster relief efforts. He has auctioned his Golden Boot Awards to raise money for charity. He regularly visits sick children in hospitals. While some criticize his careful management of his public image, others praise his philanthropic efforts. His CR7 brand encompasses clothing lines, fragrances, hotels, and numerous other business ventures. He has endorsement deals with major global companies worth tens of millions of dollars annually. His lifetime deal with Nike is reportedly worth over $1 billion. He is not just an athlete, but a global brand. his image recognized in virtually every country on earth. As his playing career enters its final years, questions naturally arise about his legacy. Where does he rank among the greatest footballers of all time? The answer depends on criteria that are subjective and often influenced by personal preference, generational bias, and what one values in a footballer. What is inarguable is that Cristiano Ronaldo has achieved things that were previously unimaginable. He has scored goals in quantities that seemed impossible. He has won trophies at every club he has represented. He has maintained elite performance for over 2 decades, adapting and evolving as the game has changed around him. He has inspired millions of young footballers to push beyond their perceived limits, to believe that hard work and dedication can overcome natural talent. Critics point to the World Cup, the one major trophy he has never won. It is true that this absence marks a gap in his collection, a missing piece that separates him from Pelé, Maradona and Messi, all of whom have won football's ultimate prize. But reducing a career as extraordinary as Cristiano's to this single absence seems reductive and unfair. Football is a team sport, and no individual, however brilliant, can win a World Cup alone. What Cristiano represents more than anything is the triumph of will. He was not born with the natural genius of a Messi or a Maradona. He was a talented boy from a poor family on a remote island, smaller than his peers, with an accent that made him a target for mockery. Everything he has achieved has come through fanatical dedication, through refusing to accept limitations, through an almost pathological hatred of losing. This drive has sometimes manifested in ways that critics find off-putting. His celebrations can seem excessive, his confidence can appear as arrogance, his desire for individual accolades can be interpreted as selfishness. But these are inseparable from what has made him great. The same ego that drives him to celebrate goals with theatrical flair is the ego that pushes him to practice free kicks until his feet bleed, to study every detail of his performance, to never be satisfied. As of early 2025, Cristiano Ronaldo continues to play for Al Nassr in Saudi Arabia. He scores goals with the same regularity that has defined his entire career. His physical condition remains remarkable. He still speaks of ambitions, of records to break, of goals to achieve. Whether he will play beyond his current contract, which runs until the summer of 2025, remains unclear. At some point, even Cristiano Ronaldo must accept that time is undefeated, that the body cannot perform forever regardless of how meticulously it is maintained. When he does eventually retire, football will lose one of its greatest ever players. The debates about his place in history will continue for generations. Books will be written, documentaries will be produced, statisticians will analyze his numbers, and fans will argue passionately about where he ranks. But perhaps the most important aspect of Cristiano Ronaldo's legacy is not the goals or the trophies or the awards, as impressive as they all are. Perhaps it is the example he has set, the proof he has provided that limitations are often self-imposed, that the gap between good and great is filled with work that most people are unwilling to do. He showed a generation of footballers that arriving at training early and leaving late matters, that what you eat and how you recover matters, that practicing when you are already the best matters because someone somewhere is practicing too. That belief in yourself, even when others doubt, is not arrogance if you are willing to back it up with performance. The boy from Madeira who cried himself to sleep in Lisbon, who was mocked for his accent, who nearly had his football dreams ended by a heart condition, became one of the most successful athletes in history. He scored over 900 goals. He won 5 Champions Leagues. He conquered England, Spain, and Italy. He captained his country to international glory. He became a global icon, his face known to billions. But beyond all the achievements, all the records, all the silverware, Cristiano Ronaldo's story is fundamentally human. It is a story about a son who wanted to make his mother proud, who wanted to escape poverty, who wanted to prove everyone who doubted him wrong. It is a story about sacrifice and loneliness, about missing home while chasing dreams. It is a story about falling short, getting back up, and trying again. It is a story about the price of greatness and the rewards that come with paying it. There will be other great footballers. Some may score more goals, win more trophies, break his records. Records are made to be broken, and sport constantly evolves. But there will never be another Cristiano Ronaldo, because no one else has lived his specific journey, overcome his specific obstacles, or driven themselves with his specific intensity. When children on remote islands or in impoverished neighborhoods dream of football glory, when they practice alone on rough streets with makeshift balls, when they face mockery and doubt, they can look to Cristiano Ronaldo and see that the dream is possible. That is perhaps his greatest legacy, proof that the impossible is simply a challenge, waiting for someone determined enough to overcome it. In Madeira, on that steep street in Santo Antonio, where a skinny boy once practiced for hours with anything that rolled, there is now a statue of Cristiano Ronaldo. It stands as a symbol, a reminder to every child who passes it that greatness can emerge from the most unlikely places, that talent can bloom in the poorest soil, that dreams dreamed on that very street can lead to the pinnacles of global sport. The story of Cristiano Ronaldo is far from over. He continues to write new chapters, to chase new goals, to seek new challenges. But even when he finally hangs up his boots, even when his playing days become memories, his impact will endure. The goals will be replayed, the trophies will remain won, the records will stand, and millions of people around the world will remember watching him play and feeling that they were witnessing something special, something that transcended sport. From Madeira to Manchester, from Manchester to Madrid, from Madrid to Turin, from Turin back to Manchester, from Manchester to Riyadh, the journey has been extraordinary. Through triumphs and setbacks, through joy and heartbreak, through record-breaking performances and bitter disappointments, Cristiano Ronaldo has remained true to the drive that has always defined him, the refusal to accept anything less than the absolute best he can give. As the sun sets on his playing career, whenever that eventually comes, the football world will bid farewell to one of its greatest ever servants. But the inspiration will remain, the legacy will endure, and the name Cristiano Ronaldo will forever be synonymous with excellence, dedication, and the relentless pursuit of greatness. To understand Cristiano Ronaldo's longevity and sustained excellence, one must understand the almost obsessive attention he pays to his physical condition. His body is not a gift from nature, but a carefully constructed instrument, maintained through discipline that borders on fanaticism. While other players might relax after training sessions, Cristiano views every moment as an opportunity to improve, to maintain, to perfect. His daily routine has been documented and analyzed by sports scientists, nutritionists, and fellow athletes, all marveling at the dedication required to maintain such standards year after year, decade after decade. Cristiano typically wakes early, often around 6 in the morning, though his sleep schedule is unconventional compared to most people. Rather than following the traditional 8-hour sleep pattern, he has adopted a method recommended by sleep specialist Nick Littlehales, who worked with him during his time at Real Madrid. This method involves taking 5 90-minute naps throughout the day rather than one continuous sleep period. The approach is based on sleep cycles, with each 90-minute period representing one complete cycle. By splitting his rest this way, Cristiano reportedly maintains peak cognitive function and physical recovery while accommodating his demanding training and match schedule. He sleeps in the fetal position, which Littlehales recommends for improved posture and reduced back strain, critical for an athlete whose body endures tremendous physical stress. His first nap might end around midnight, followed by periods of wakefulness and relaxation before another 90-minute rest cycle at 3 in the morning. This pattern continues throughout the day, with naps strategically timed around training sessions, meals, and recovery periods. While this routine sounds exhausting to the average person, for Cristiano it represents optimization, a way to maximize both performance and recovery in a schedule that demands both. When he does wake for the day, breakfast is carefully planned and nutritionally balanced. Unlike many people who might grab coffee and pastries, Cristiano's morning meal is fuel calculated to provide sustained energy without unnecessary calories. Fresh fruit juices made from whole fruits, never from concentrate, provide vitamins and natural sugars. Whole grain toast supplies complex carbohydrates. Fresh cheese and avocado add healthy fats and protein. This combination gives him energy for the morning's activities without causing blood sugar spikes that would lead to crashes later. By mid-morning, typically around 10 or 10:30, Cristiano is at the training facility. But calling it merely training undersells what actually happens. His preparation begins before he touches a football. Dynamic stretching routines prepare muscles and joints, increasing blood flow and reducing injury risk. Hip twisters, leg swings, arm circles, and torso rotations, all performed with perfect form, activate the body's systems and prepare it for intense activity. The warm-up might include several laps around the pitch at varying speeds, starting slow and gradually building to running pace. Cardiovascular exercises follow, getting his heart rate elevated and his lungs working. Only after this thorough preparation does the actual football training begin. But even here, Cristiano's approach differs from teammates. Where others might perform drills at 70 or 80% intensity during practice, saving full effort for matches, Cristiano trains at match intensity. Every sprint is full speed. Every shot is struck with power and precision. Every movement is executed as if thousands of fans are watching. His coaches and trainers have noted that this intensity sometimes needs to be managed. In his younger years at Manchester United, Sir Alex Ferguson occasionally had to pull Cristiano aside and tell him to save something for the actual matches. But this inability to do anything at less than maximum effort is fundamental to who he is. It explains both his incredible success and the remarkable longevity of his career. The training sessions themselves are comprehensive and varied. Mondays might focus on strength and conditioning, with exercises targeting major muscle groups. Squats, deadlifts, bench presses, all performed with weights calibrated to build functional strength without excessive bulk that would slow him down. Cristiano's physique has evolved over his career from the skinny teenager to the muscular athlete, but never has he pursued size for its own sake. Every ounce of muscle serves a purpose: acceleration, jumping ability, balance, power. Tuesdays might emphasize agility and speed work. Cone drills that require rapid changes of direction, testing his ability to accelerate, decelerate, and change direction without losing balance. Sprint intervals where he pushes his cardiovascular system to its limits, building the endurance that allows him to maintain high intensity even in the 90th minute of matches. Plyometric exercises, box jumps, and bounds that enhance his explosive power, contributing to that remarkable vertical leap that has allowed him to score so many headed goals despite not being exceptionally tall by football standards. Wednesdays bring technical work. Ball control drills where he practices receiving passes at different speeds and angles, honing the first touch that separates great players from good ones. Shooting practice from various positions and distances, working on placement, power, and technique. Free kick routines where he spends 30, 40, sometimes 60 minutes after regular training has ended. Striking ball after ball, adjusting his approach angle. His plant foot position, the part of the ball he strikes. Experimenting and refining until muscle memory makes the technique automatic. teammates and coaches have shared stories of arriving at training facilities early or staying late and finding Cristiano already there or still there working alone. At Manchester United, Rio Ferdinand spoke of young Cristiano staying hours after training ended, practicing stepovers and tricks until he could perform them at full speed without thinking. At Real Madrid, Marcelo described arriving at the training ground at 7 in the morning and discovering Cristiano already in the gym, having been there since 6. This dedication extends to his diet, which he treats with the same seriousness as his training. Cristiano eats 6 small meals throughout the day rather than 3 large ones. This approach, recommended by his personal nutritionist, keeps his metabolism active and ensures constant fuel availability without overloading his digestive system. Each meal is carefully planned with precise ratios of proteins, carbohydrates, and fats. A typical second meal, consumed after morning training around 1 in the afternoon, might consist of chicken breast or fresh fish, steamed or grilled without heavy sauces. Brown rice or quinoa provides complex carbohydrates that release energy slowly. A variety of fresh vegetables, often steamed or eaten raw, supplies vitamins, minerals, and fiber. The portion sizes are moderate, enough to satisfy hunger and provide nutrients without causing the sluggishness that comes from overeating. His favorite dish, which he has mentioned in multiple interviews, is bacalhau à brás, a traditional Portuguese recipe combining salt cod with thinly sliced potatoes, onions, black olives, and scrambled eggs, all mixed together and garnished with parsley. It is comfort food from his homeland, a connection to his roots and family. But even when indulging in this favorite meal, Cristiano is mindful of portion control and frequency, treating it as an occasional pleasure rather than a regular occurrence. Fish features prominently in his diet, a reflection of both Portuguese culinary tradition and nutritional science. Swordfish, sea bass, sea bream, and tuna appear regularly on his plate. These fish provide high-quality protein and omega-3 fatty acids that reduce inflammation and support cardiovascular health. The preparation is always simple, grilled or baked with minimal oil, seasoned with herbs and lemon rather than heavy sauces that add unnecessary calories and fats. What Cristiano avoids is as important as what he consumes. Sugar is treated as almost toxic, to be avoided except in natural forms found in fruits. Processed foods have no place in his diet. Soft drinks are forbidden, viewed with such disdain that he once famously removed Coca-Cola bottles from a press conference table, replacing them with water and urging people to drink water instead. The incident caused Coca-Cola's stock value to drop billions of dollars, demonstrating the power and influence of his personal brand. Alcohol is similarly restricted. While he might occasionally have a small glass of wine on special occasions, he largely abstains, knowing that alcohol interferes with recovery, sleep quality, and athletic performance. For someone whose entire identity revolves around physical excellence, the short-term pleasure of alcohol is not worth the performance cost. Hydration receives constant attention. Cristiano drinks water throughout the day, ensuring his body remains optimally hydrated. Dehydration, even mild dehydration, impairs physical performance, cognitive function, and recovery. He has been known to drink between 8 and 12 glasses of water daily, more on training days or in hot weather. This simple habit, maintaining proper hydration, is foundational to his performance, yet it is something many athletes neglect. His afternoon, following lunch, and a recovery period might include additional training. Not always team training, but often personal work. Cardiovascular exercise on stationary bikes or treadmills. Swimming, which provides excellent cardiovascular benefits while being low impact on joints. Pilates or yoga sessions that improve flexibility, core strength and balance, all crucial for preventing injuries and maintaining the fluid movement that characterizes his play. Recovery is treated as seriously as training itself. After intense sessions, ice baths help reduce inflammation and muscle soreness. The shock of cold water, temperatures often around 10 to 15 degrees Celsius, is uncomfortable but effective, constricting blood vessels and reducing metabolic activity, which decreases swelling and tissue breakdown. When he exits the ice bath and his body warms, the blood vessels dilate and fresh, oxygen-rich blood flows to the muscles, accelerating recovery. Massage therapy is another regular component of his recovery protocol. Sports masseurs work on his muscles, releasing tension, improving circulation, and identifying potential problem areas before they develop into injuries. Cristiano has employed personal massage therapists throughout his career, ensuring this crucial recovery element is never neglected. Cryotherapy chambers, where he exposes his body to temperatures as low as minus 160 degrees Celsius for 2 to 3 minutes, provide whole-body recovery benefits similar to ice baths but more extreme. The intense cold triggers the body's natural healing mechanisms, reducing inflammation throughout the entire system rather than just specific muscles. His evening meal, consumed around 8 or 9 in the evening, follows similar nutritional principles to earlier meals. Lean protein, complex carbohydrates, fresh vegetables, all in moderate portions. The timing is strategic, providing nutrients for overnight recovery without eating so late that digestion interferes with sleep quality. After dinner, he might have a final snack before bed, something light like fresh fruit, or a small serving of protein to provide nutrients during the overnight fast. The physical statistics that result from this dedication are remarkable. At 39 years old, when he underwent medical testing at Al Nassr, his physical metrics were comparable to those of athletes a decade younger. His body fat percentage, reportedly around 7%, is extraordinarily low, indicating minimal excess fat and maximum lean muscle mass. His cardiovascular capacity, measured by VO2 max testing, which determines how efficiently the body uses oxygen, rivals that of professional marathon runners. His vertical jump, the height he can leap from a standing position, has been measured at over 78 centimeters, nearly 31 inches. This extraordinary jumping ability explains how he can outleap much taller defenders to win headers. The iconic header he scored against Sampdoria while playing for Juventus saw him reach a peak height of 56 meters, higher than the crossbar of a regulation goal, with a hang time of 1.5 seconds. The physics of that leap, the power required to propel his body that high and maintain control while airborne, is simply extraordinary. His sprint speed, while not quite matching the fastest sprinters in the world, is elite for a footballer. He has been clocked at over 33 kilometers per hour, faster than most professional players, and maintained well into his 30s through diligent training. Even more impressive than his top speed is his acceleration, his ability to reach near maximum velocity within a few strides, giving him an explosive first step that beats defenders before they can react. But perhaps the most telling statistic is not a measurement but an observation: his injury record. Throughout a career spanning over 2 decades at the highest level of football, Cristiano has suffered remarkably few serious injuries. The occasional muscle strain, a rare ligament concern, but nothing approaching the career-threatening injuries that have derailed so many talented players. This durability is not luck or genetics, but the direct result of meticulous care, proper training, adequate recovery, and listening to his body's signals. Former teammates and opponents have shared their observations of his physical preparation. Wayne Rooney described watching Cristiano at Manchester United, noting how he would study his own body in mirrors, not out of vanity but to ensure symmetry, to identify any muscular imbalances that might indicate overuse or improper training. Patrice Evra spoke of inviting Cristiano to lunch at his house, only to have Cristiano arrive with his own chef and prepared food, unwilling to compromise his diet, even for social occasions. Rio Ferdinand recounted how the young Cristiano, who arrived at Manchester United in 2003, would order steak and chips, standard footballer fare. But as Cristiano matured and became more educated about nutrition, his orders changed to chicken, vegetables, and complex carbohydrates. This evolution, this willingness to change habits and embrace new information, has been crucial to his longevity. Gary Neville, his former teammate turned football pundit, described Cristiano as the hardest working player he ever played with, someone whose dedication to improvement never wavered regardless of how much success he achieved. When Cristiano won his first Ballon d'Or in 2008, many players might have relaxed slightly, satisfied with reaching the pinnacle. Instead, Cristiano intensified his efforts, determined not just to reach the top, but to stay there, to win the award again and again. This mindset, this refusal to be satisfied, can be exhausting to observe, and must be even more exhausting to maintain. But it is also what separates the merely excellent from the truly legendary. Cristiano views his body as a high-performance machine that requires constant maintenance, constant upgrading, constant attention. Where others might skip an extra training session or indulge in poor food choices, thinking one instance won't matter, Cristiano sees those small decisions accumulating, determining whether he maintains peak performance or begins a slow decline. While Cristiano Ronaldo's physical achievements have occurred on football pitches around the world, his business acumen has constructed an empire that extends far beyond sport. The CR7 brand, named after his initials and iconic shirt number, has become a global phenomenon, a symbol of excellence and aspiration that resonates with millions of people who have never watched a football match. The origins of this business empire were humble and personal. The story, as Cristiano has told it, begins with his son, Cristiano Jr. When the boy was just 6 years old, he sketched his father's logo in a school notebook, combining the letters C and R with the number 7 in a simple but striking design. Cristiano was so impressed by the elegant simplicity of the symbol that he decided to transform it into a brand. The first CR7 logo appeared in 2006, featuring minimalist design with red and gold accents. Over the years, it has evolved, but the core concept has remained consistent: strength, elegance, and consistency reflected in visual form. The CR7 brand first manifested in fashion, specifically in an area that might seem mundane but proved brilliantly strategic: underwear. Launched in 2013, CR7 underwear was developed in partnership with New York designer Richard Chai and Danish manufacturer JBS Textile Group. But this was not simply a celebrity slapping their name on generic products. Cristiano was intimately involved in the development process, drawing from personal experience. During his match preparations, he had struggled to find underwear that fit perfectly, maintained its shape after washing, and provided maximum comfort during intense physical activity. These frustrations became the design brief for CR7 underwear. Each product was tested extensively, with Cristiano himself serving as the primary quality control, refusing to approve anything he wouldn't personally wear. The pricing strategy was premium. A pair of CR7 underwear retails for between $25 and $45, 3 to 4 times the cost of standard underwear brands. Yet, consumers proved willing to pay this premium. Market research revealed that 73% of buyers purchased CR7 underwear not merely for functionality, but for the emotional connection to Ronaldo and what market researchers called the sense of success it represented. Wearing the same brand as the world's best footballer, even if just in underwear, provided psychological value that justified the premium price. The commercial success exceeded expectations. Within the first year, CR7 underwear generated millions in revenue, establishing a foundation for brand expansion. The underwear line led naturally into broader fashion offerings. In 2014, Cristiano expanded into premium shirts, shoes, jeans, and accessories. His design philosophy, as he described it, was elegant simplicity. He personally approved each product, maintaining a wardrobe at the Lisbon headquarters where he tested new items for a week before allowing them to market. "If I wouldn't wear it myself," he stated in an interview, "we don't sell it." This hands-on approach ensured brand consistency and quality, but also limited production scale. Cristiano understood that exclusivity was part of the brand's appeal. CR7 fashion was not meant to be ubiquitous but aspirational, available but special, accessible but premium. Fragrances became another lucrative venture. Since 2015, Ronaldo has developed his fragrance line in collaboration with Eden Parfums, a British manufacturer specializing in luxury scents. The fragrances carry names like Legacy, Fearless, and Victory, each designed to embody aspects of Cristiano's personality and career. The scents themselves are crafted to appeal to his core demographic, young, ambitious, confident individuals who view fragrance as part of their personal brand. The commercial performance has been exceptional. Over 3 million bottles are sold annually, with the Middle East being the strongest market, where CR7 fragrances hold approximately 15% of the men's premium fragrance sector. This success in Middle Eastern markets would prove prescient, foreshadowing his eventual move to Saudi Arabia years later, where he had already established brand recognition and loyalty. The hotel venture represents perhaps Cristiano's most ambitious and visible business endeavor. In partnership with Pestana Hotel Group, Portugal's largest hotel chain, he launched Pestana CR7 Lifestyle Hotels. The first location opened in 2016 in Funchal, Madeira, Cristiano's hometown, a symbolic return to his roots now as a successful businessman rather than a struggling child. The location was strategic, capitalizing on Madeira's tourism industry while providing local economic development in the community that shaped him. The hotels blend luxury accommodations with football theming, though executed with sufficient sophistication to avoid becoming tacky sports museums. The design aesthetic is modern and sleek, with subtle references to Cristiano's career woven throughout, photographs from significant moments, replica trophies displayed tastefully, interactive exhibits that allow guests to experience aspects of football training. At the New York location, there is even a secret VIP room containing Cristiano's personal items, including his first Ballon d'Or trophy, accessible only to select guests. The hotel chain has expanded to include locations in Lisbon, Madrid, Paris, and New York, each positioned in prime tourist districts where they attract both Ronaldo fans and general travelers seeking quality accommodations. The revenue model is straightforward: room bookings, restaurant service, event hosting, and merchandise sales. As co-owner and brand ambassador, Cristiano benefits from the profits while the Pestana Group handles operational management, a strategic partnership that allows him to expand into hospitality without needing to develop hotel management expertise. Fitness centers provided another natural extension of the CR7 brand. In 2016, Cristiano partnered with Crunch franchise to launch CR7 Crunch Fitness gyms. The facilities are equipped with state-of-the-art equipment and offer training programs allegedly modeled on Cristiano's own routines, though adapted for various fitness levels. The psychological appeal is obvious. Train where and how Cristiano trains, access the methods that created one of the world's most sculpted physiques. Currently, CR7 fitness locations operate in Portugal and Spain, with plans for expansion into other European markets. The business model combines membership fees with personal training services and branded merchandise sales. Like his other ventures, these gyms position themselves as premium offerings, priced above budget fitness chains, but below exclusive personal training studios, occupying a market sweet spot where aspiring fitness enthusiasts are willing to pay extra for the CR7 association. The restaurant business brought Cristiano into the competitive and risky hospitality sector. Together with fellow athletes Rafael Nadal and Pau Gasol, plus singer Enrique Iglesias, he invested in Grupo Mabel Capital, which owns upscale restaurant Zela. With locations in Madrid, Ibiza, Beverly Hills, and Doha, these establishments offer Mediterranean fusion cuisine in sophisticated environments. The ownership structure spreads risk among multiple celebrity partners while leveraging each partner's fame for marketing. A more personal and poignant business venture is Insomnia, a hair transplant clinic chain. Established in Spain while Cristiano played for Juventus with additional locations in Portugal, Insomnia offers hair restoration services designed to help individuals improve their self-esteem. Cristiano owns 50% of the company's shares and appointed his partner Georgina Rodriguez as executor. The venture reflects his understanding that confidence and appearance are interconnected, that sometimes people need physical changes to feel better about themselves. Having experienced his own insecurities about appearance during his youth, Cristiano can empathize with this need. Even bottled water became a CR7 product. Ursunine Water, launched in partnership with his mother Maria Dolores, sources premium water from natural springs in Portugal. The product plays into Cristiano's well-known advocacy for water over sugary drinks, giving consumers a way to drink, like Cristiano, in their daily lives. While perhaps a minor revenue stream compared to fashion or hotels, it demonstrates the brand's breadth and Cristiano's willingness to extend into diverse product categories. The digital realm has not been neglected. Cristiano has invested in technology startups and digital platforms, including ZujuGP, a digital football platform backed by investor Peter Lim. His partnership with Binance, the cryptocurrency exchange, marked his entry into the blockchain and NFT space, a controversial move given the volatility and skepticism surrounding cryptocurrency, but one that demonstrated his willingness to engage with emerging technologies. His social media presence itself functions as a business asset of immense value. With over 600 million followers across Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, Cristiano possesses one of the world's largest social media audiences. Companies pay him over $2 million for a single sponsored post, making him one of the highest paid influencers globally. But beyond sponsored content, his social media serves as a marketing channel for his own businesses, allowing him to promote CR7 products directly to hundreds of millions of potential customers without paying advertising costs. The business empire's financial scale is staggering. Estimates suggest his various ventures contribute between $500 and $600 million to his overall net worth, independent of his football earnings. Forbes reported that Cristiano became the first footballer to surpass $1 billion in career earnings, with business ventures playing a substantial role in reaching that milestone. What makes Cristiano's business success particularly notable is the strategic thinking underlying it. He has not simply licensed his name to the highest bidder, but has built a cohesive brand that reinforces consistent themes: excellence, discipline, confidence, luxury, and aspiration. Each business venture aligns with these themes and with his personal image as an elite athlete who maintains peak physical condition through dedication and smart choices. The vertical integration of his businesses creates synergies. Someone who buys CR7 fragrances might be interested in CR7 fashion. A CR7 fitness gym member might stay at a Pastana CR7 hotel when traveling, A restaurant patron might purchase CR7 underwear as a gift. The businesses support and promote each other, creating an ecosystem where customers can engage with the CR7 brand across multiple aspects of their lives. Furthermore, Cristiano has demonstrated wisdom in his partnership structures. Rather than attempting to build and operate all these businesses himself, he has partnered with established companies that possess operational expertise: Pestana for hotels, Crunch for gyms, Eden Parfums for fragrances, JBS Textile for fashion. These partnerships reduce his risk and time commitment while ensuring professional management. His role is primarily as brand ambassador and strategic advisor, contributing his name, image, and vision while allowing partners to handle daily operations. His children are already being prepared to eventually take over this empire. Cristiano Jr. is reportedly studying business, learning the skills necessary to manage and expand the family's commercial interests. His daughters are involved in developing a CR7 Kids line, introducing them to product development and brand management. Cristiano is building not just for his own future, but for his family's future, creating a legacy that will outlast his playing career and provide for generations. While Cristiano Ronaldo's wealth and success are undeniable, his charitable work reveals another dimension of his character, one that receives less attention than his goals and trophies, but is no less significant. His philanthropy is extensive, ranging from large institutional donations to individual acts of kindness, from public charitable partnerships to private gestures that often remain unknown until years later. The foundation of his philanthropic philosophy comes from his father, José Diniz Aveiro, who, despite his struggles with alcoholism and the family's poverty, taught young Cristiano about helping others. "My father always taught me," Cristiano has said, "that when you help other people, then God will give you double. And that's what has really happened to me. When I have helped other people who are in need, God has helped me more." This belief has manifested in substantial charitable giving throughout his career. In 2015, the organization Do Something org named Cristiano the most charitable athlete in the world, ahead of John Cena, Neymar, and Maria Sharapova. The designation recognized both the scale and consistency of his giving, his willingness to use his platform and wealth to make tangible differences in people's lives. Healthcare causes receive particular attention from Cristiano, perhaps influenced by his own experience with the heart condition that threatened to end his career at age 15. In 2014, he donated 1.5 million euros to a Portuguese cancer center that had treated his mother for breast cancer. This was not simply a large check, but a deeply personal donation, supporting the institution that had helped save his mother's life, funding critical medical research and patient care that would benefit countless others facing similar battles. Individual medical interventions have occurred repeatedly. In the spring of 2014, Cristiano received a request for a donation of football boots and a shirt to help raise $83,000 for a 10-month-old baby, Eric Ortiz Cruz, who needed brain surgery. Cristiano not only donated the requested items, but paid for the entire operation himself, ensuring the child received necessary treatment without the family facing financial ruin. This pattern has repeated throughout his career, paying for children's cancer treatments, funding surgeries, covering medical expenses for families who cannot afford them. His stance against cancer extends beyond individual cases. He has funded cancer centers, donated to leukemia research, and publicly supported cancer awareness campaigns. After winning the 2013 Ballon d'Or, he celebrated not with parties, but with a group of children fighting leukemia, promising during his acceptance speech to acknowledge them, then following through on that promise. These children, facing the most difficult battle of their young lives, experienced a moment of joy and recognition that surely meant more than any trophy. Disaster relief has consistently drawn Cristiano's support. When a devastating earthquake struck Nepal in 2015, killing thousands and leaving hundreds of thousands homeless, Cristiano donated £5 million to aid victims, funding emergency supplies, medical care, and rebuilding initiatives. The donation was made quietly, without press releases or publicity seeking, only becoming public knowledge when relief organizations acknowledged his contribution. He has supported Syrian refugees extensively, both financially and through advocacy. Working with Save the Children, an organization where he serves as a global artist ambassador, Cristiano has donated substantial funds to provide food, education, and healthcare for displaced children. He has visited refugee camps, used his social media platforms to raise awareness about their struggles, and urged the global community to address the refugee crisis with compassion and action. The COVID-19 pandemic saw Cristiano step up again with substantial support. He donated over $1 million to hospitals in Portugal, particularly in Lisbon and Porto, purchasing ICU beds and ventilators when these resources were desperately scarce. He funded protective equipment for healthcare workers who were risking their lives treating patients. These contributions came at a moment of genuine crisis when hospitals were overwhelmed and medical professionals were working under impossible conditions. Education forms another pillar of his charitable work, though this receives less publicity than his medical or disaster relief contributions. He has quietly funded scholarship programs for underprivileged youth in Portugal and other countries, helping students access quality education who otherwise would have been unable to afford it. He supports programs combining sports with academic development, recognizing that athletics can be a pathway to education for disadvantaged children, just as football was his own pathway out of poverty. Children's causes dominate his philanthropic portfolio, reflecting his belief that investing in children is investing in the future. He works with multiple organizations focused on children's welfare, Save the Children, UNICEF, World Vision. As an ambassador for these organizations, he provides both financial support and public advocacy, using his massive platform to draw attention to issues affecting vulnerable children worldwide. His partnership with Make-A-Wish Foundation has been particularly touching. This organization grants wishes to children with life-threatening medical conditions, and Cristiano has participated numerous times, meeting children, signing memorabilia, providing experiences that bring joy during unimaginably difficult times. In 2017, he auctioned his 2013 Ballon d'Or trophy, with all €600,000 in proceeds going to Make-A-Wish. That trophy, a symbol of his individual excellence and achievement, meant less to him than the help it could provide to sick children. Blood donation advocacy represents one of his most consistent charitable messages. Cristiano is a regular blood donor, despite his celebrity status making even this simple act complicated due to privacy and logistics. He has famously stated that he refuses to get tattoos specifically so he can donate blood regularly, as fresh tattoos temporarily disqualify donors in many jurisdictions. This explanation, whether entirely accurate or somewhat simplified, sends a powerful message about priorities, that helping others through blood donation is more important than personal aesthetic choices. His charitable work extends to causes that receive less attention. He has donated to animal welfare organizations and shelters, supporting animal protection efforts. He has contributed to environmental conservation initiatives. He has funded programs supporting disadvantaged communities in Portugal and beyond. Many of these donations happen without publicity, only emerging years later through tax records or when recipients acknowledge the support. The Cristiano Ronaldo Foundation, established in 2010, formalizes and coordinates much of his philanthropic activity. The foundation focuses on improving the lives of children globally through education, health, and sports programs. It builds schools and hospitals in impoverished communities, provides scholarships and educational materials, supports youth football teams in developing countries, and advocates for environmental sustainability and responsible tourism. While the Foundation's specific annual giving figures are not publicly disclosed, reports suggest it has donated millions over the years, funding projects across multiple continents. The Foundation represents Cristiano's long-term commitment to giving back, an institutional structure that will continue his charitable work even after his playing career ends. Critics sometimes question celebrity philanthropy, suggesting it is primarily about tax benefits, public image management, or guilt over excessive wealth. But examining Cristiano's charitable record reveals a pattern that predates his massive wealth, a consistency that extends across his entire career, and a focus on causes personally meaningful to him rather than those most likely to generate positive publicity. His giving is strategic but not calculating. He supports medical causes because he understands vulnerability, having nearly lost his career to a heart condition. He helps children because he remembers being a child in poverty, wondering if he would ever escape Santo Antonio. He funds disaster relief because he recognizes that accidents of birth and geography should not determine whether people receive help when catastrophe strikes. He supports refugees because he can imagine being forced from his home with nothing, starting over in a strange place just as he had to do at age 12 when he moved to Lisbon. Former Manchester United teammate Patrice Evra shared a story that illustrates Cristiano's approach to charity. After United won a match, Evra saw Cristiano give his match shirt to a homeless person outside Old Trafford. The shirt, which could have been sold for thousands of pounds at auction or kept as a personal memento, was instead given to someone who needed it more. When Evra asked why, Cristiano reportedly said simply, he needed it. This anecdote, whether precisely accurate or somewhat embellished in retelling, captures something essential about Cristiano's charitable philosophy. Despite the millions he donates to organizations and foundations, he has not lost sight of individual human need, the person in front of him who is struggling and could use help right now. His mother, Maria Dolores, has spoken about how Cristiano's success has allowed him to help not just strangers, but his own family and friends from Madeira. He has paid off mortgages for family members, funded education for cousins, helped childhood friends start businesses. This private family charity, never publicized by Cristiano himself, demonstrates that his giving begins close to home before extending globally. No examination of Cristiano Ronaldo's career would be complete without addressing his rivalry with Lionel Messi, an athletic competition that has transcended sport to become a cultural phenomenon. For well over a decade, these two extraordinary players have defined football's pinnacle, pushing each other to achievements that seemed impossible, setting records that are immediately broken by the other, creating a debate that has consumed billions of fans worldwide. The rivalry is fascinating partially because of its contrasts. Cristiano Ronaldo, tall, powerfully built, created through relentless work and dedication, a triumph of will over nature. Lionel Messi, shorter, naturally gifted, seemingly touched by divine talent, able to do things with a football that defy physics and explanation. Cristiano, expressive, emotional, theatrical in his celebrations. Messi, reserved, quiet, allowing his play to speak. Cristiano, the product of poverty, who fought his way to the top. Messi, diagnosed with growth hormone deficiency, also faced significant obstacles but through different challenges. Their careers have intersected at crucial moments. They shared Spanish football for 9 years, from 2009 when Cristiano joined Real Madrid until 2010 when he departed for Juventus. During this period, El Clasico matches between Real Madrid and Barcelona became must. Watch global events not just because of the historic rivalry between the clubs, but because they featured Ronaldo versus Messi, the two best players on the planet facing each other. The individual record books they rewrote during this era are extraordinary. Both scored over 600 goals for their respective clubs. Both won multiple Ballon d'Or awards, with Messi currently ahead with 8 to Cristiano's 5. Both led their teams to Champions League victories. Both became all-time leading scorers for their national teams. They pushed each other relentlessly, each extraordinary achievement by one answered by the other. Statisticians have spent countless hours comparing them across every imaginable metric. Goals scored, assists provided, games won, trophies lifted, individual awards claimed. The debate rages endlessly. Who is better? Who has had the greater career? Who will history remember as the superior player? These questions, ultimately subjective and perhaps unanswerable, have generated millions of words of analysis, argumentation, and passion. What is often lost in this debate is the mutual respect between the two players. Despite media narratives painting them as bitter enemies, both have spoken positively about each other in interviews. Cristiano has said, "I've never had a bad relationship with Messi. We've shared 15 years of awards and we've always gotten along well." He recounted translating English for Messi early in their careers, describing their interactions as friendly despite the competitive context. Messi has reciprocated this respect, acknowledging Cristiano's incredible work ethic and achievements. When asked about their rivalry, Messi has noted that it has pushed both of them to greater heights, that competing against someone so excellent forces you to improve continuously. This mutual acknowledgement suggests that while they compete fiercely, they also recognize they are privileged participants in a unique athletic phenomenon. The rivalry has benefited football tremendously. Television audiences for El Clasico matches reached record levels. Jersey sales for both players' clubs surged. Young players worldwide had two different models of excellence to emulate, two pathways to greatness. Coaches could point to both players when teaching different aspects of the game. Messi for dribbling and playmaking, Cristiano for finishing and aerial ability, both for their competitive mentality and consistency. Their different styles have created philosophical debates about what makes a great footballer. Is it Messi's ability to create something from nothing, his almost supernatural close control and vision? Or is it Cristiano's complete package of skills, his adaptability, his proven success across different leagues and tactical systems? Is the greatest player the one with the most natural talent, or the one who maximizes every ounce of their ability through work? These questions reflect broader cultural values. Cristiano appeals to those who believe in hard work and self-creation, the idea that dedication can overcome any obstacle. Messi represents the romantic ideal of genius, the artist who makes the impossible look effortless. Both views have merit, and perhaps the answer is that football is rich enough to accommodate both types of greatness. The trophy comparison reveals interesting patterns. Cristiano has won league titles in 3 countries, England, Spain, and Italy. Messi won repeatedly in Spain and then recently in France. Cristiano has 5 Champions League titles, Messi has 4. Cristiano won the European Championship with Portugal in 2016. Messi finally won the Copa America with Argentina in 2021, and then the World Cup in 2022, the one major trophy that has eluded Cristiano.